Well, many college kids here in Iowa will head back on Monday. So Cameron McCarty is a financial expert, and he is joining us to chat a little bit about some financial advice for some of those college kids out there. Cameron, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
So obviously, a lot of these kids have worked jobs over the summer. So they've tried to make a little bit of extra money as they head back into a new school year. A lot of them obviously maybe even paying for school themselves or other expenses. So when working with college kids, what's the first piece of advice that you give them when it comes to their finances?
Budget. I mean, you got to have a budget.
Yeah.
And it's so tough to do a lot of times, but you need to do that. I mean,
absolutely.
So when you look at school, because, here's the deal. When I talk to my own clients, a lot of them are retired or close to retirement. They want their kids to try to walk into the workforce debt-free, if possible, or eliminate as much debt as possible. So we got to know what's coming in. How much is tuition, your board, your food, you name it, and how are you going to pay for it? Yeah. Right? I mean, so do you have a college 529 plan? How are you going to utilize that during your years of schooling? And one thing I don't want to see, especially with parents, for goodness sake, do not dip into your 401k plans to pay for your kids' college. Yeah. Just don't do it.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure that's something that kids, if they feel like they don't have any other option to turn, that's something that they might consider. Yeah. But there's always other options out there, right?
Options. And you can also talk to a coach, somebody like me.
Absolutely. Yes, definitely. And so when it comes to the budgeting process that we talked a little bit about, where do you start with all of that? I think that there's spreadsheets, there's apps for this type of thing. You can obviously work with a coach, like you said. There's a lot of different options for budgeting. Is there one method that you found works best with college kids?
It's funny you said that. There's an app for that, right? I mean, there's an app for everything. Yeah. I mean, the biggest thing is just keep it simple, right? I mean, these kids, we want them focusing on their schooling, right? I mean, we want them getting through that, and we want, again, eliminate as much loans as possible. And I get it. If we got to get a loan, we got to get a loan. But again, I'm just trying to think of some apps at the top of my head, but you can go as simple as an Excel document. Sure. And also get the parents involved in this process. I also want them to have even a checking savings account when they go into college. I mean, they should have one anyway, especially after when they graduate from high school. They should, I'm assuming they got some money. Yeah. So let's be smart with that, and let's utilize it wisely.
Sure. And yeah, definitely when it comes to, looking at those savings accounts and things like that, you recommend probably trying not to dip into that too much. Yeah. But when it comes to those budgets as well, what's the biggest struggle, would you say, for kids when it comes to their finances in college? I know we talked about budgeting. Any other common struggles that you see?
I think Venmo is very, very big right now. I mean, it's so convenient. And so it's just, when it's out of sight, it's out of mind. And so it can be easily just spending money. I just think it's just having those conversations. And one other thing, too, I want to point on is the 529 plans. There's been some rules and changes to that now there's some key things. If you've had a 529 plan for at least 15 years and a child didn't use all that money, that could go into a Roth IRA where they can make a contribution with that. I want your viewers to know that because, again, it's not like it has to be only used for education, and it doesn't have to be for higher education. It could be for trade school. It could be for any of those sort of things. Yeah,
lots of different options of where those funds can go towards. And I think that to kind of wrap this up, what else, I guess, what other advice would you give to kids who, might be feeling like they're going into the school year worried or stressed about finances? Like you said, kids have a lot of different things to worry about when it comes to college. Sure. And finances can definitely be, I would imagine, something that kind of pulls them away from their academics a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, your parents are your biggest support system. I mean, and your viewers know that. Yeah. I saw a stat in a survey that was done that said that, for college kids, 89% have credit cards. Be responsible with those. They're so easy to get into. And so again, I hope your parents, they talk to kids about this, educate them on this. How do you balance a checkbook? I mean, when I went to school, they showed us how to balance a checkbook. I don't know if they do that. Do they do that anymore?
I don't remember getting the best advice about that. So it's good.
Parents can help. Please step up.
Yes.
That's what we want.
Work with your college kids on their finances. Help them eliminate some of that stress. Financial coach Cameron McCarty with some great advice as kids get ready to head back to school. Thanks so much for joining us on Midday.